welcome back to another episode of 6 and 6, where we cover 6 stories from around the world in 6 minutes or less. With that said, start your timer. First, we look to Mexico, where the nation is still reeling from the murder of a local mayor, Alejandro Arcos. To add to the devastation in the state of Jalisco, 5 bodies have been found without their heads on the side of a road. From BBC, quote, "The brutality of the murders and the disposal of the bodies in a public place are clear indications of drug cartel involvement." National Guard troops also attended the scene and found the remains wrapped in black plastic bags. The Jalisco State Prosecutor's Office said in a statement. None of the victims' ages could be determined yet, and an investigation has been launched, it added. In Jalisco this year, official figures show that 1,415 people were murdered between January and September, end quote. Across the Pacific in Taiwan, TSMC's strong showing in the third quarter has netted them nearly $9.7 million in profit, as companies fight to get their hands on the most advanced microchips in the world. From Reuters, quote, "Asia's economic calendar on Thursday sees the release of the latest international trade data from Japan and Singapore and Australian unemployment. The main 3 U.S. indices all closed in the green on Wednesday, with banks and small caps leading the rise. Big tech, however, remains under pressure, which may intensify the spotlight even more on TSMC's third quarter results on Thursday. The world's largest contract chipmaker, also whose customers include Apple, Nvidia, ASML, has benefited from the global surge towards AI, and a miss or weak guidance, however, could trigger another wave of selling across big tech, end quote. With the expected rate cuts across the world, investors are watching closely to see if there are any signs of weakness within the market. Next to Australia, where the purchase of a new home has raised questions over whether or not politicians care about the issues facing their citizens. From the BBC, quote, "Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is under fire after buying a multi-million-dollar cliff-top home amid a national housing crisis. Albanese made the purchase months out from the election, in which the cost of living and housing are key issues." Later in the article, quote, "At a press conference about housing on the day news of his new home broke, Albanese said he was aware that he was better off than many Australians due to his income, but that he could still empathize with their struggles." End quote. Even members of Albanese's own party have questioned the move as he is going into a hotly contested election. Green Party members have seized on the opportunity to lay out their plans for housing reform. Next to Italy, where the new immigration system has been tested for the first time. They have shipped their first group of migrants to Albania in order to process their asylum claims before they are allowed into the country. From Reuters, the Libra, an Italian Navy ship, docked at Shenzhen, Reuters footage showed. 16 migrants were escorted into a newly built processing center at the port, ringed by a high metal fence and adorned with Italian and EU flags. Rising tension in Europe over migration issues has been seen by many nations, including Germany and Poland, who have proposed or want to adopt tougher policies. The UK's previous government had planned to deport asylum seekers to Rwanda, although Prime Minister Keir Starmer scrapped the plan after taking office in July, end quote. The deal only allows for 3,000 migrants at a time to be held at the facility in Albania, and on a yearly basis, they can only have 36,000 people there. As we come to South America, where Brazil has been hit by storms that have left a trail of destruction throughout the country, though they have signaled an end to the country's dry season. The storm's sudden appearance shocked many. From BBC, quote, "Central and southeastern parts of the country have been hit by winds of up to 100 kilometers or 60 miles per hour, and daily rainfall reaching up to 10 centimeters or 4 inches, according to the National Institute of Meteorology. 7 people are known to be dead in São Paulo, Brazil's most populated state, mainly due to the falling of trees and infrastructure from the strong winds and heavy rainfall. Blackouts have engulfed large parts of São Paulo since Friday, with water supply problems also reported," end quote. After months of being engulfed by flames, this extreme weather has caused a sense of whiplash, forcing many to confront the devastation of Mother Nature. Finally, we close in Nigeria, where 147 people have been killed after a fuel tanker tipped over and exploded. From Reuters, quote, "The accident is one of the worst in recent times in Africa's most populous nation, which is battling with widespread security threats and cost of living crises. Narun Milinga, head of the Jingwa State Emergency Services, put the death toll from the accident at 147. Local police spokesperson Lawan Shizu Adam said the tanker was traveling from the ancient city of Kano to Yobe State in the north, where the driver lost control near Maja town in Tajur local government area, about 530 kilometers, 330 miles north of the capital of Abju, causing it to overturn and spill fuel. Sorry for if any of my mispronunciations are in there so egregious that you couldn't actually concentrate. But with all that said, if you want to check out any of today's articles, all of them will be linked in the description below that like and subscribe button. Also down there, you can find the podcast that comes out on Monday, Wednesday, Friday on the YouTube channel or the RSS feed. It's on Spotify, Pocket Cast, Podvine, all these different services. And if you want to check out the Twitter tirade, that comes out on Tuesday and Thursday, same time as this, over at the Twitter handle @YourDailyFlip. With all that said, there's only one more thing to say. Stay safe, don't die.